It wouldn't be summer without a pulse-pounding action thriller, and Nobody 2 Inches will deliver exactly that. Suburban dad turned reluctant assassin Hutch Mansell is dragged back into his deadly past, only to uncover explosive secrets about his wife Becca, and himself. Spike Lee and Denzel Washington teaming up again can only mean one thing: a cinematic event. This time, they take on a bold reimagining of Akira Kurosawa's High and Low, transplanting the gripping crime thriller to the streets of modern-day New York. When a powerful music mogul becomes the target of a high-stakes ransom scheme, he's thrust into a brutal moral crisis with everything on the line. The world might be waiting for Ari Aster to return to the horror roots that crafted Midsommar and Hereditary, but that is not bound to happen yet. Instead, the filmmaker proposal for the summer is Eddington, about the political and social turmoil in the fictional city of Eddington, New Mexico, caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Luke Grimes, Deirdre O'Connell, Michael Ward, Austin Butler, and Emma Stone make the A-list cast. Arriving right at the start of summer, 28 years later, aims to stake its claim as the defining horror event of late 2025. Once centered on Cillian Murphy's eerie awakening in an abandoned London, the story now follows Aaron Taylor Johnson as a survivor living with a tight-knit community on a remote island, linked to the mainland by a single fortified causeway. Naturally, the fragile peace shatters when the infected return with brutal force. Famous for sparking a fierce bidding war over its script, Weapons builds on the buzz Zach Cregger generated with 2022's Barbarian. The film follows a town thrown into panic when all but one child from the same class vanish simultaneously, leaving everyone desperate to uncover the sinister force behind it. The first film in the new DC universe in a reboot of the Superman franchise, this release is set to dominate the summer conversation. Directed by James Gunn, it follows Clark Kent as he navigates the balance between his Kryptonian legacy and his human upbringing in Smallville. This time, the Man of Steel is portrayed by David Corenswet. DreamWorks Animation ventures into live action for the first time with a remake of one of its most beloved titles, How to Train Your Dragon. Set to bring Toothless the Night Fury to life like never before, the film stars rising talent Mason Thames as Hiccup. Years into their relationship, Tim and Millie relocate to the countryside, only to find their bond tested like never before. When they encounter a disturbing supernatural force, their love and their bodies begin to unravel. This visceral blend of romance and body horror is set to be one of summer's most unforgettable and blood-soaked releases. Summer ends on a chilling note with the grand finale of the most successful modern horror franchise, The Conjuring. In this fourth and final chapter, Ed and Lorraine Warren face their darkest case yet, the haunting of Jack and Janet Smurl's seemingly perfect new home. What begins as a dream quickly spirals into a demonic nightmare. Set in 1870s Montana, buried secrets ignite chaos when a young man returns to reclaim his legacy, caught between a hard-edged sheriff and a vengeful outsider. With Pierce Brosnan and Samuel L. Jackson leading the charge, this western aims to deliver grit, tension, and spectacle. One of the major highlights of summer 2025 is Brad Pitt's return to the big screen as a leading man. In F1, he plays Sonny Hayes, a former Formula One driver whose career was cut short by a devastating crash in the 90s. Years later, he's pulled back into the world of racing when an old friend asks him to mentor rising star Joshua Noah Pierce for the Apex Grand Prix team. The fourth installment in the I Know What You Did Last Summer franchise, this film directly follows I Still Know What You Did Last Summer. Alongside the return of Freddie Prinze Jr. and Jennifer Love Hewitt, it introduces a fresh cast including Madeline Klein, Chase Sway Wonders, and Jonah Hauer-King. After 5 friends cover up a fatal hit and run, they find themselves targeted by a vengeful stalker a year later. Desperate, they turn to survivors of the infamous 1997 Southport Massacre for help. As Marvel gears up for its next wave of Avengers films, it's bringing fresh faces into the fold, starting this July with a major reboot of The Fantastic Four. Pedro Pascal, Vanessa Kirby, Joseph Quinn, and Eben Moss-Bachrach star as the iconic team, tasked with defending their retro-futuristic 1960s-inspired world from the cosmic threat of Galactus. For better or worse, Al Pacino has spent the last 2 decades proving he can tackle any genre, and now he's diving into horror with The Ritual. He stars as one of two priests, both haunted by inner demons, who must put aside their differences to carry out a dangerous exorcism. One of Netflix's most anticipated upcoming releases is the sequel to The Old Guard, the hit action film starring Charlize Theron. This time, Andy leads her team of immortal warriors against a formidable new threat, just as a long-lost immortal resurfaces and throws their mission into chaos. A follow-up to the 1984 cult classic, the This Is Spinal Tap sequel brings back Christopher Guest, Michael McKean, and Harry Shearer as the iconic, and hilariously dysfunctional, heavy metal band reuniting for one last concert after 15 years. Packed with cameos from music legends like Paul McCartney, Elton John, Garth Brooks, Questlove, Trisha Yearwood, Chad Smith, and Lars Ulrich, the film promises a chaotic, star-studded farewell worthy of the loudest band in rock history. 5 years after Jurassic World Dominion, a daring expedition ventures into remote equatorial zones to extract DNA from 3 colossal prehistoric creatures, hoping to unlock a revolutionary medical breakthrough. Serving as a standalone sequel in the 7th installment in the Jurassic Park franchise, this new chapter introduces a fresh cast led by Scarlett Johansson, Mahershala Ali, and Jonathan Bailey. Another that has already hit theaters. The 6th film in the Karate Kid franchise, following the 2010 reboot, picks up after the events of the Cobra Kai series. Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio return to their iconic roles, joined by new lead Ben Wong alongside Joshua Jackson, Sadie Stanley, and Ming-Na Wen. When Kung Fu prodigy Li Fong moves to New York City, he clashes with a local karate champion and sets out to compete in the Ultimate Tournament with guidance from Mr. Han and Daniel LaRusso. A legacy sequel to Naked Gun 33 and a third, The Final Insult, the 4th installment in the beloved spoof franchise brings back the absurdity with a fresh twist. Liam Neeson steps into the role of Lieutenant Frank Drebin Jr., leading police squad in a new mission to save the world, armed with deadpan delivery and non-stop chaos. Don't let the title fool you. This is far from the final chapter, as Tom Cruise has expressed his desire to play Ethan Hunt for as long as his body allows. In this 8th installment, already dominating the box office, the leading man and the IMF team hunt the deadly AI known as the Entity, which has infiltrated global intelligence networks, while evading governments and a haunting figure from Ethan's past. Netflix is banking on Happy Gilmore 2 inches to dominate global charts for weeks with the return of Adam Sandler's beloved sports comedy. Sandler reprises his iconic role as Happy Gilmore, who attempts a comeback to compete in a high-stakes tournament, joined by Julie Bowen, Dennis Duggan, Christopher McDonald, and Ben Stiller, all reprising their original roles. John Wick returns, but this time the spotlight is on a new protagonist. Set between John Wick, Chapter 3 Parabellum, and Chapter 4, the film follows Eve Macaro, a ballerina-turned-assassin, as she trains in the deadly traditions of the Ruska Roma and seeks revenge for her father's death. Though not a summer release, the Lilo and Stitch live-action remake is a hit, and will continue to be in the months ahead. Disney understands that while fans are often wary of reimagining beloved classics, they can't resist seeing their favorite characters brought to life. In Materialists, Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans, and Pedro Pascal lead what might be the year's boldest rom-com. Set in New York, it follows a sharp matchmaker caught between her ideal partner and the ex who still lingers in her heart. Haunted dolls rarely miss, so it's no surprise that Megan struck a chord with audiences. Now, a sequel is on the way. Set 2 years after M3 Gan's deadly rampage, creator Gemma is forced to bring her back, this time to stop Amelia, a military-grade weapon developed by a defense contractor who stole M3 Gan's original tech.